Okay, y'all, I have a really super awesome rock star guest for us today. Oh my gosh. Put on your thinking caps, get out your pieces of paper and pen or your Evernotes and start taking notes because we have the one and only Jennifer McGurk here today. Oh, welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you, Adrien. I'm a huge fan of yours. So I'm so excited to be on your show. It's such an honor.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited you're here as well. Well, for anybody that's been living under a rock, tell us your story. Like, I want to know everything. Like, how'd you end up to where you are today?
Oh my gosh, how much time do you have? Because as you know, it takes forever to build a business, but
No, not at
I'll
all. On
give
Instagram, it's only a couple of weeks, right?
I know. Okay. Well, my story really does begin with the reason why I'm so passionate about this in the first place is that I love the work of eating disorders. I love being a weight inclusive dietitian. I love the non-diet approach. I personally have been so impacted by just having a healthy relationship with food. I say feeling fabulous about food and really having done the own work of eating disorder recovery myself, that my story begins there, but that's literally where it starts. Like it has been such a journey going from someone that just literally went through eating disorder recovery as a dietitian and feeling so passionate about that work to wanting to spread that work as far and wide as it could go to other people. And that's why I started my business. I tried to find a job in eating disorders. I tried to find some sort of career where I could make a difference in other people's lives. And back in 2008, 9, really, there were no weight inclusive jobs. There was no non-diet jobs. I just felt like I was stuck in this clinical role of diabetes management that I decided to start my own private practice. And that really, is the beginning of the story. But since then, I've had children. I have 3 kids. I have ebbed and flowed in so many different areas of business. I feel like I am a true entrepreneur in that aspect of like always solving problems and figuring out where I want to go next. And my company went from being a solo, provider, solopreneur, seeing eating disorder clients to growing into a group private practice. Then I started to do some consulting work on the side with other dietitians and how to start a private practice. I wrote a book series, which was not the way to go if you want to start a consulting business. I have lots of lessons on that. But the book turned into a course, turned into a membership program, and now we are a legit business education coaching company called Pursuing Private Practice. And it has been such an honor to lead so many dietitians. We've had almost 300 dietitians go through our programs over the past 5 years.
Are you
So it's
serious?
been so awesome to lead so many people into building their own businesses.
Congratulations. That is huge.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I'm so, proud of them. I'm so proud of their mission. I'm so proud of, what they've been able to do. It's like an honor to be the leader of this company that is making such an impact in the world, because most of the dietitians that we serve also believe in a weight inclusive approach, a non-diet approach, and really want to build a business impacted with their values and to really figure out how to make a difference in the world while taking care of themselves and their boundaries, their, self-care plan as a business owner, because as you know, it's lots of ups and downs, which I'm sure we'll talk about on this show. So it's been really awesome to watch them just grow in their business leadership. It's been so awesome.
How cool. I love it. And listening to your story, it flowed so well. And I'm like, oh, well, you just did the next best thing. And it sounded like it made sense of this journey. Was it like that? Or were you building a business to solve problems? Because it feels like, oh, well, I just wrote a book and that seemed natural to then turn it into a course. And that seemed so, and you made it sound very easy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was not easy at all. If I made it sound easy, it was not easy at all. But I think that's the thing. I mean, when I think about business, I think, how can I solve someone's problem? And I think as a business owner, you should also think about that and it's so funny because sometimes I coach people that want to help people have a great relationship with food. And they say to me, oh, well, I just want to work with clients that already have an amazing body image and have no problems eating. And that they already eat intuitively. Like those are my clients out there. And I say to that person, that's the end result of the work that you do together.
Yes.
People come to you with a problem. Yes. And I had tons of problems in front of me starting a business. And I literally tried to say to myself, okay, if I were to think like this and act like this and have the insight of this, what decision would I make? And it's putting one foot in front of the other. Granted, you will have times in your business where you take 4 steps back and then you have to still put the same foot in front of the other. And it just goes back to, you know, what do you want to do as a business owner? Like, what kind of impact do you want to make in the world? What do you want your business to do in terms of the problems that you have to solve for people?
I think that's something that, like, I don't know, maybe I just am not paying attention, which is very possible, but I think that's something that a lot of us don't ever pay attention to is, what problem am I solving with this business? And so as a dietitian, if we just boil it down, like, oh, create a better relationship with food in your body. But I guess should we be more granular than just very over ethereal arching?
Yes, absolutely. What are the pain points that our clients have? What is going on with their relationship with food? You know, as an eating disorders dietitian, I hear all the time, like, I just had the worst binge ever. Like, I can't eat. Like, I have horrible body image. Like, I can't go out on a date. I can't participate in this school event with my family because they have lunch there that's served and I can't eat. And you hear all the time what's going on specifically with people. And I don't think that you have to be an eating disorders dietitian to solve problems of helping people have a healthy relationship with food, because think about the world that we live in diet culture, especially after all of this trauma of COVID and all the traumatic, horrible things that are happening in the world. People feel like their relationship with food is messed up. And it's really important for me as a dietitian to let people know that I have solutions on how to actually have a healthy relationship with food. I have solved this problem for so many clients. I mean, our group private practice now has seen over 1,000 people, and we know what works for a lot of people and we know what doesn't work for a lot of people. And it's hard, it's freaking hard work, you know, but we know how to help people go from diet rock bottom to intuitive eating to health at every size, if they choose to follow a weight inclusive approach, which obviously we think is the best way to do that. But, you know, it really just depends on what people are going through. Like, we could help them through a lot of things in their life.
So I'm going to do like a but what if I'm new and I don't know, I haven't seen 1,000 clients. I don't know if this 100% works. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I believe it in my heart and soul. Like, how do I know that I can solve these problems?
Oh yeah, no, that's a great question, because I felt the exact same way when I was starting. And I think I had a light bulb moment maybe a couple of years ago, because I started to use this in my own marketing, that every expert was once new. And I still remember, I mean, Adrien, we were recording in my office. So when I point, like, I know no one can see me, but like, I still remember where I was in my living room, the first time I ever had someone say yes to booking an appointment with me for my private practice back in 2011. You know, like, I still remember walking into my office space and saying to myself, like, oh my gosh, this is my office space. Like, I'm really doing this. So I feel like you have to know at the very beginning that you are going to feel imposter, like, quote unquote, imposter syndrome. You are going to feel like you don't know what you're doing. You are going to feel like, I don't know how to work with clients. Like, you're going to feel new because you are new, because you're starting. And that's a very different stage of business than growing, than scaling, you know, like, it's starting. There's obviously a special place in my heart for people that are starting, because it's an amazing place to be. But you just have to start somewhere and put one foot in front of the other, like back what we were saying before.
I love that. I think that's something that we should all remember. Everybody remember this. Put a little start, is that it's always just one foot in the other. What's the next problem? What's the next thing I need to solve? Because it can get overwhelming and so defeating when you look at all of the things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And just like our clients face that in their journey of eating disorder recovery, because we're focusing on clients with our conversation right now, business owners feel the exact same way when it comes to building a business. Like, where do you start? How do I start? What's going on? You know, so I always compare the two because I see so many parallels. And I think when I talk about our clients and what they go through, dietitians get it. And then I point to us as business owners and I'm like, it's the same thing in a different way. You know, we feel overwhelmed with starting, and we feel overwhelmed with growing, and we feel like there's so many ups and downs, because that's the truth.
Oh, totally. And like that overwhelm and like change and shift. And so, like, as a business owner, like, I feel like you have to have that nimble approach. And so when our environment shifts, when the world shifts, like, how do we as business owners match that, or like do the best as possible?
Yes, that is such a good question. And I feel like everyone should be asking themselves this, because we all know that a recession is coming if it's not here already. We all know that we have a traumatic world with every horrible event that goes on that's literally just creating trauma for people. But we also know that there are people out there that need help, and we should be celebrating the victories that people have in terms of healing their relationship with food. So I think, first of all those things can be true at the same time. Like sometimes it's really hard to think about like wins and celebrations in business when you hear the news and you turn on awful things that have happened over the world. So I just want to acknowledge that, because it definitely is a privilege to be able to kind of handle that in a way. So before we go on, definitely acknowledging that. But it comes down to the need and the drive for business owners to help support their clients in a way that really works for clients. So the environment has shifted that. I mean, the perfect example is COVID. I mean, if we can just start there, how there were so many brick and mortar private practices that said, oh my gosh, I'm going to go out of business if I can't see people in person. What can I do to keep my private practice going in this quote unquote COVID environment of being virtual? And I think that's an excellent example of shifting when it comes to the environment. What do our clients need? Like now, think about it. It's so normal for our clients to go seek support for mental health or nutrition or whatever they're seeking support from virtually, which 3 years ago, that was maybe half the private practices. I actually don't know that statistic. That might be.
It was before COVID. It was so like few and far between.
Yeah. So that's just one example of a shifting environment. Another thing to kind of ask yourself is like, how am I solving this problem? Like, how am I providing value for people that want to pay me? And that same, can I just pick $100 for an example? But that same $100 now is different than it was a year ago. And it's the same amount of money, but yet the value of that is different in a time where a recession is probably coming. So we have to be more valuable for our clients and present our solution as being worth it for them to pay that money, which I mean, if any dietitian ever needs a pep talk, I'm always here. And I feel like you're the perfect person for that too, Adrien, in terms of like knowing your worth and presenting your value. But it's true. You can't just expect someone to come see you just because you're a dietitian. What are you going to bring to the table? Like, what's the value there?
Oh, I love that. So many thoughts on there, because I think you're so true. Like during that time of like when the pandemic truly hit, I've never seen more entrepreneurs get so stinking creative. Oh my gosh. Like everybody was just like creativity up the wazoo. It was wonderful to watch, like step back and watch. And so I wonder now with like this recession coming and changing of values and perceptions, what creativity can we solve this time? And so I think as our environments shift, how can we as business owners be creative and help continue to solve those problems, but in a creative aspect?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I have two parts to my business. I still have the group private practice, which is in full-blown coasting mode right now. I have two amazing dietitians. Our clients are awesome. We are doing things there in a way that makes sense, but I am still shifting even in a coasting business to get ready for the recession. Like we're looking into how can we organize our systems a little bit better. We're looking into providing better documentation for super bills because we are out of network providers for insurance. We're not in network providers for insurance, at least not right now. And we're streamlining our process to make it easier for the client to come on board, to solve problems for them in terms of the insurance paperwork that they have to go through, and to think about like, okay, what are some other creative options that we could offer, maybe even for free, like a support group for parents or an intuitive eating class or something that just brings more help and support to the clients that need it the most. So right?
I was just like, that's so brilliant. Because I think a lot of times people don't think ahead. They're so focused in tunnel vision of like, this is the fire I have to put out right now. And so what helps you as like a business owner to have that forward thinking?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a whole nother conversation that I feel like I'm still working on. But I think that being the CEO or being like the business owner, the visionary, whatever you want to call it, your job is to literally think sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it is so hard to do because of what you just said, like you're putting out fires all day, every day. So one of my goals, like one of my KPIs for my company, and this is more so over in pursuing private practice. So I have one part of my company that's the group private practice. The other part of my company is pursuing private practice, and that's helping dietitians really build businesses. But one of my own KPIs is to reduce operations from like 15 hours a week to 5. I want to do it 1 hour a day. I'm not there yet, Adrien. My KPI is not met. But that's one of the things that I'm working on in terms of how do I have more time and space in my calendar to think. Like I'm part of my own business mastermind, and some people in my own business mastermind have an entire day of white space on their calendar to think. And I'm sitting over here like, how did you get that? Can you tell me your secret? What do you need to do? Can I borrow your systems and your operations? Because I'm not there yet. But I think that is just really important to recognize that you need that time to sit and think about your offer, your business structure, your marketing, what's the value you're bringing. I mean, all the things like finances, it's a big part of it too. So thinking about how can I lead my company? And again, even if it's just you, because that's the thing that I think I want to emphasize too. A solopreneur is still a CEO. Mm-hmm. So time and space to really think about how to solve problems.
Oh, I love that. And you've heard, I don't know about you, but I've heard that so many places, like have a CEO day, have this, like maybe once a quarter, maybe it's hard to have it once a week, but it's so, I don't know about you, but it's so easy to be like, when I have white space to fill it up with other crap.
I know.
And to have those good boundaries. And I think that's one of the hardest, but wonderful, like great parts of, I guess kind of being the CEO is like you have that space and how to like honor that space. So how do you, for you as the CEO, honor your calendar and not fill it up with crap?
Oh, I know. So first of all, I had to take a step back and say, why is this so hard for me to do? So I will say I was maybe a year ago, I was going through a ton of burnout. I mean, I had just had my third baby at that point. So I was postpartum, going through a lot of burnout, really building this company from the ground up and having a team in place that was not sufficient for the work that we were doing. I really needed to double our team, and I have doubled our team practically over the last year because I was just so burnt out and I was doing way too many roles and I was doing way too many things. And I said to myself, why do I get such a high whenever I can like check off a to-do, right? Like, why do I have this like light bulb in my brain? Like I get a hit of serotonin every time I can like check off an email, schedule something in my calendar system, have it just be done. And I said, if I really want to grow this company, I need to take challenges and I need to act differently, right? And I need to think and act like as how I want my future self to think and act. And it is so funny, Adrien, because I remember I was saying those things to myself back in like 2005, 6, 7, when I was going through my own eating disorder recovery. And I talk about that all the time in business, because I think we ask our clients to do challenging things. Like we also have to ask ourselves to do challenging things. So I said, listen, no more highs from your email. No more hits of serotonin from the calendar stuff. Like I literally need to figure out how to have better boundaries. So I hired people before I was ready. I spent money that I might not necessarily have quote unquote had. I know we've talked about that before. It's like, what is your line? Scared money don't make money.
From Pitbull. I mean, it really is. And the wisdoms of Pitbull, scared money don't make money. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I kind of put the energy into scaling my business the same way that I did at the beginning of starting my business. Starting a business takes maybe $1,000 or $2,000 and a whole lot of getting over your fear. And scaling a business takes like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 and a whole lot of getting over your fear, and even more money if you're really truly scaling. But it really is putting the same amount of energy into that I had on a bigger level. And it was a new challenge. So it took a whole lot of new thinking, new feeling, new insight, to do that.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's awesome. I like that of reminding ourselves to take on those challenges. It was interesting last weekend. I was at my sister-in-law's house, and she has this saying of like, choose your hard.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, oh, I really like that. And so, I think like I'm so with you. Like I need those gold stars of like, I checked that off. I was like, okay, that really wasn't that hard. And so I made that choice that was my hard for the day. I'm like, okay, as the owner, what is the hard? What do I need to do and challenge myself to grow the business?
Exactly. Exactly. And you've made so many pivots doing so, as have
Oh,
I.
yes.
And yeah. And I mean, I would love to hear a little bit more too, Adrien, about
No,
things
this
that
is my
you find.
podcast. You can't interview me.
Well, I think your story, I mean, we were obviously talking before we pressed record. I think your story is so inspiring though. It's like you're doing something right now that no one else is doing. And it has to be hard and it has to be challenging, but it's awesome at the same time.
It is. It is. And it's terrifying. What is one of my friends, she came up with this term. It was called joy terror. Like it's absolutely joyful and absolutely terrifying all at once. Just like having a baby. It's joyful and terrifying. And so yeah, I think it is hard to do any of those pivots. So why do you think it's so hard to pivot in business? Like you've done it a few times.
Yes. I think, well, it's so funny. I don't think I have this because I have pivoted in business a lot and I have made those challenging, scary decisions and put, risk on the line, so to speak. But I have coached a lot of people that are scared. And I think, there's always like fear and imposter syndrome are meant to protect us from feeling that hard stuff. So it is very, very, very true that a lot of us struggle with imposter syndrome for a good reason, meaning that, we don't want to fail. We don't want to do bad. We don't want to get criticized by other people. We don't want to hear sometimes like negative feedback or sometimes too, like, it's so funny. Sometimes too, like we don't necessarily maybe want to be successful because what does that mean for us as business owners? That came up in my own business mastermind the other day. I was like, that's such a good question. But I think anytime that we grow a business, we're really pivoting us, like our personality. And I think that that's why it's hard because we have to set new boundaries. We have to do things in a different way. Like we might have to grieve the loss of doing things on our own. I know that's been a big one for me, like having a whole team to support. I just can't decide tomorrow, I'm going to do something new because doing something new means that 8 people have to come along and it's a different process than me just figuring it out. So there's a lot of reasons why it's hard, but and I've struggled with all of them. And at the same time, I've gotten over them and I've done it because I've learned that the times where it hasn't worked out has been my best teachers. Like there's no other way to put it, like failure is the only way to learn what to do next.
Oh, I love that. Failure is the only way to learn what to do next. Oh, I hope everybody like wrote that one down. That's a good tweetable. I hope your social media person's writing that one down. But man, what's helped you to kind of get okay with all of that?
Oh, what'd you say, Adrien?
And like what's helped you to be okay with like the falling down, getting back up? Like I know for me, like every time I'd fall down, it got easier. So like for you, what's helped you? Oh no. There we are. Okay.
What? So wait, hold on. My Zoom just literally shut down. I think it's my internet connection. Sometimes it goes.
No.
You know what? Hold on one second. Sometimes that helps if I just do the video. It helps with the bandwidth. But I've had that happen to me on my own show and it doesn't affect anything with recording. It just literally converts and it's fine.
Yeah. I'm not worried. So we were talking about falling down and fear.
Yes.
Okay. So what's helped you to kind of be okay with like making mistakes and falling down and fearful?
Honestly, my answer is that I have helped a lot of clients do that in their own journey to recovery. And I see all the time, I mean, even now in supervision and being in charge of the group practice, I hear about client cases all the time. So even though I don't see anyone as a clinician right now, except for a couple of people that are still hanging around, which I love, that's a good thing, but I see them fall down all the time and get back up. And their stories have inspired me throughout the past 10 years of being a business owner, like even through the hard stories, like even through the higher levels of care, even through the stuff that really no one wants to talk about because it is so traumatizing, like even through the chaos of family situations and vacations and school stuff and college and, you know, people having horrible situations. Like my clients have literally managed eating disorder recovery through the hardest of things. And it is always so inspiring for me to hear their stories and to see how having a great relationship with food and being an intuitive eater and healing from eating disorder recovery or healing from an eating disorder, like in treatment, really does help you live a life that you're really proud of, even through all of that hard stuff. So as someone that has been there myself and that has helped other people through that, it is just so incredible to see. And that's what keeps me going.
Oh, I love that. It truly is. I always love like listening to patients' stories. You're just like, holy hell, if you can do this, like I can send that invoice. Like,
yes, I know. Like if you can do this, I can go get my EIN number.
Yeah.
If you can do this, I can put up a social media post. Yeah. If you can do this, I can ask for a sale. You know, like our clients do so many hard things. Like business owners, we need to remember that we can do hard things too.
True. So true. In the wisdom of Pitbull again, there was a song, you guys might know who I like to listen to. He has a song about fear, and as opposed to being scared of everything, his acronym for fear is face everything and rise, which I thought was really cool. I was like, well, see, Pitbull has some good wisdom.
Pitbull. You want to sponsor Fearless Practitioners?
Oh my. That would be awesome. Well, Jennifer, this has been so much fun. And I know that our listeners could learn 1,012 things from you, but what is some words of wisdom that you can bestow on our listeners to really help them take action, move forward in building their business, their group practice, their brand? Where can we take some action today?
Okay, let me think. I want to give like a couple, maybe like 3 biggest tips, you think? Maybe? Okay. I would say exposure therapy is going to work for you, meaning that you have to do the thing that you are afraid of. And the first time that you do it, it is going to be really horrible and it's going to take a long time to get over. But then it's going to get a little better the second time. It's going to get a little better the third time. By the 10th or 15th time you do something, don't even worry about it. You're going to be a pro.
I love it.
I would say tip number 2, don't be afraid to pivot. I feel like this show is talking about pivoting. And I feel like this show is so perfect of just an example of that. Like I have changed my offer. I am currently changing my offer for Dietitian Business School, which is one of the things that we run at the company, Pursuing Private Practice. I'm not afraid to hear feedback from people and to make changes based on the environment, what people want, what works best for my boundaries, and what literally provides the most value for people. So that is kind of my advice number 2, like don't be afraid to pivot. And number 3, I would say find your support system because you don't know what you don't know. And at the same time, you need other people to be doing the thing that you want to be able to do. And finding your support system is a huge, huge piece of advice that I wish I found earlier. Like I've always had really great, amazing friends and colleagues, but it was really maybe 2010 or so, 11, 12 that I said, oh, I should probably get like some supervision mentorship, maybe find a group. And I don't think that happened for me until maybe 2014, 15. And I don't want to say wasted because everything is not a failure. Everything is a learning experience, but like I should have made some different decisions for about 3 years as a business owner. And then once I found my people and once I learned from other people and had mentors and supervision and joining business groups and things like that, that's when I really skyrocketed my business. And I think that the same is true for a lot of other people too.
Oh, amen to that. That's, couldn't agree more. Like that's truly what has shaped my career is my people, my support group. I love it.
Yes, so true.
Oh, awesome. Jennifer, this has been absolutely amazing. How can we learn more about you and pursuing private practice? Where are you? Tell me all the dates.
So pursuingprivatepractice.com is probably the hub of everything. That's our website. On Instagram, we are at pursuing.private.practice. You can send us a message. It won't go to me though directly. It'll go to Megan, who is our marketing manager. She takes care of all of our social media, but you can also send us an inquiry, hello@pursuingprivatepractice.com. Check us out. If you're interested in growing a business, we offer things for different stages of business, which is something that I really, truly love to talk about because you're in a different place when you're starting versus growing versus scaling versus coasting. We actually have a coasting stage of business, which is honoring boundaries and really working on self-care practices and zoning in on what's important. So I would love to learn more about you and your business and see if we are a good match.
Oh, I love that. We will definitely have all of that information in our show notes. So you will definitely want to check out all of that. Jennifer, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been an absolute treat.
Thank you, Adrien. I appreciate it.
Yay. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.